What I'm going to talk to you in this video today about is the king of all Betfair trading football strategies. And it's the lay the draw strategy, right? This will work. I don't care what anybody says. This strategy will work till the end of time, okay? Because until football is not decided on goals, this will work because you are literally laying the draw. If you don't know me, my name is Ryan Carruthers from the Betfair Trading Community, where with Adam and Martin, we have helped and spoken to more traders than probably anybody else out there. We've been doing it longer than anybody, and I think we've been doing it better than everybody as well. It's why over 200 of our members stay with us for nearly a year, which in today's times where, things cost money, there's a reason why. In fact, one of our members who I was speaking to just today, actually, I said, well, what's your biggest win? Why have you stayed with us? And he said, because I consistently hit profitable weeks. Some of my best weeks have been thousands of pounds, all from using your software. So what I'm going to show you in this video is the lay the draw strategy. It's what I'm going to talk to you about. If you want all of the strategies, because what I'm doing with these videos is they are a series. They're like a set of Pokemon cards, right? There's a set. These are the 10 strategies to use in 2025 and 2026 that are what I have seen more people use to make profit on Betfair. These are if I've spoken to a profitable trader on football, they are using one of these strategies. If you comment the word 10 below, I will send you a link to all of the 10 videos. I'm going to put it on a nice little document for you, probably throw a few extra things in there as well, because this world of Betfair trading can be a little bit horrible. The people around there's a lot of people out there trying to scam you, just trying to take your money. What I'm trying to do here is just give you loads of value. I'm trying to help you with strategies. I'll give you spreadsheets as well so you can track your trades, all of those kind of good things. And I'm just trying to build a community on this YouTube channel as well, okay? So we can, all interact together and help each other. So this is the lay the draw strategy. Now, why do I know that this is a good strategy? Because this is one of the ones that I personally used for many, many years. I am 37 now, and when I started trading, this was one of the first strategies I used, and I used it every single season until I stopped trading manually, and I'm now on a mission to try and automate my trading, and I've got a couple of various different things happening on that, and I'll update you as we go. Now, very, very simple. The lay the draw strategy is you lay the draw. So you say this football match isn't going to finish a draw, right? Now, how it works is you find a game where you think it's not going to be a draw, and then you lay the draw, and then when a team scores, you then trade out, okay? So you're laying around, say, 4.1, 4.2, something like that. Goal goes in, draw price goes out, and then you basically trade out, okay? So you're then backing the draw because the price has gone out, right? So very, very straightforward. Now, one of the things that I've spoken about on lots of these videos is when you're building a strategy out like this, you want to start with a piece of paper and you want to say, what has to happen for all of those things to come true, for your trade or bet to profit. And then you go and pick sort of 2 or 3 of those stats, and then you go and research those games. Okay. And that then is basically the basis of your strategy. Now, I know that this works and still works because one of my profitable members, this is the only strategy that they use. Okay. They do wait until half time for a 0-0, and then they lay the draw there, okay? But this is the strategy that they use. One of the other strategies I will be talking about is a half-time lay the draw, but this is lay the draw from the start of the match, right? What would you do? Right now, the way I used to pick these matches, I would look for a home team under 2.0. So the home team is the favourite, okay? They are the favourite. I would then look for a low percentage of 0-0s at full time, okay? So low percentage 0-0s full time, 20% or less. And I'm looking for the lay price to be under 4.4, under 4.5, okay? Then what I want to see is the home team scoring first 70% of the time, historically, and the away team conceding first 70% of the time. Now, that's a really, really interesting stat for me, because that's one of these stats that I think people don't talk about enough, and it really, really helps, because one of the things that people struggle with when trading is they enter a trade and then they get a little bit like, oh my God, what's happening? I don't know what is happening. My team hasn't scored yet, or there's no goals in this game. What am I doing? Well, that's why I really like that stat, because it kind of tells you which team is most likely to score first. In my case, the home team. So you know then what you're looking for. You know, if the home team, for example, are Liverpool and they are playing Newcastle, for example, and Liverpool are attacking, and you know, they're battering down that door and Newcastle aren't defending well, they're penned in their own half, you're seeing all of the things that lead to goals, you know, passes through to midfield, it's getting to the strikers, it's getting to the people who do the assists, then you will feel way more confident in your trade because you're then backed up by the data. So they're the stats that I kind of pick. So what I would do if I was you right now, building out your lay the draw strategy, is exactly that. Think about what has to happen for a game, for a trade like that to win. Well, there has to be a goal. Okay, so there's got to be one goal. There's got to be a low percentage of nil-nils. Okay, cool. And then a goal has to come usually, if you're laying the draw from the start, before 70 minutes, because that's when my stop loss point was. So then you need to go and find that information and then go and find those traits. Okay, go find those things. And then what you do is you start tracking that. Okay, so you start tracking the way that you're picking those games, the stats around that. That's then how you build the strategy. A lot of people have no idea how to build a strategy, and it's usually because they're overcomplicating it. Just pick 2 or 3 key stats to you that you think are important, and then let those selections, those criteria, that be the way you pick the games, and then paper trade that for a while, okay? And then start to track things, track what time the first goal goes in, track what happens after the first goal goes in, track what happens with 0-0 at halftime and full time, and what happens with the match odds compared to the results. So if all of your losers are in a certain window of match odds, then look what happens when you forward test that. Okay, something is happening there. Let the data tell you what is happening. So that's exactly what I would do in 2025 to trade the lay the draw. What I'm going to do now is I'm just going to jump into the computer and I'm going to show you how I would use the Betfair Trading Community stats to sort of highlight those games, talk through some of the things that it finds and what kind of stats I see, what kind of things are interesting. And I'm more than happy as well in the comments below to engage with you. So if you prefer a different stat than when you're laying the draw, or you've never thought about it that way, or you think about it differently, whatever you think, then please do comment that below. Okay, comment it below. Let's have a bit of a discussion about this, because that's what I want this whole channel to be about, and it always has been like that. We have built Betfair Trading Community to be a thing where no question is a daft question, and we have spoken to more traders than anybody else. Like, I don't think anybody else has spoken to as many traders as us over the 16, 17 years we've been doing this. So comment below. No question's a daft question. Let's help each other. Let's try and really tweak and look at it. And I can always do follow-up videos as well. Like if someone, and this will happen, this has happened, someone has sparked something, they've said something, a comment to me, it's sparked an idea, because I know how trading works, I know how football trading works, and I know how the software works. Sparked an idea, I've done a video about potentially building a strategy that way. They've gone off and then they've built a profitable strategy from it. So let's work together, guys. Let's do it. So I'm going to hop into the computer now, and then I will see you in there very, very soon. So now we're going to get a little bit more technical, and we're going to dive in and dig deep into the strategy. So first, this is a lay the draw strategy. Now, the goal of this strategy, in very plain English, is to profit when a goal has been scored. Okay, we're saying goals, this game is not going to finish a draw, so we need goals. Okay, now why it works is when a goal is scored, especially by a strong home team, for example, the market reacts saying, well, okay, now that home team, they're at home, they've gone 1-0 up, the chance of a draw actually decreases. Okay, now when you're looking at filters, what filters should you use? This is actually a very tricky one, and this is where it gets really sort of personal. So what I would say to you is use one stat to start with, right, that you think is important, and then start looking through it. I'm actually going to do that now. So for me, I would probably start with something like the overall percentage of full-time nil-nils, okay, right? I would start with that. And I'm going to say less than, let's go with 20%, okay? So I'm saying from the last 10 matches, I want only 2 of the games to have finished 0-0. Okay, I'm just going to click apply. What that's going to do is that's going to bring me all of the games. Okay, so I'm recording this on the 20th of October, and I'm using the Betfair Trading Community stats, by the way. And the reason I'm using that is, well, it's mine, and also you can actually then save the filter. So really easily every day you can click here, and you can get like this screen to pop up in like a click, 2 clicks, really, really quick. But you can start to just have a look and start to piece together. Now, this game is currently in play, and there's already a goal scored in this. Okay? So I'm not going to pay much attention to that. But what I am going to start to do is just start looking through like a couple of the games, and I'm just going to start looking at some of the stats that interest me. Okay, so the first thing I'm probably going to check is the half-time score. Okay, so I can see, that 25% of the games historically, last 10, finished 0-0. So 1-0 was 20%. Okay, so I'm just starting to look through stats that scream out to me, like what stats are actually important to me. Well, firstly, this one screams out to me. There's a goal in the first half. Okay, so that's one I'll probably just write down. So how I would work this is I would have a piece of paper and I'd start putting some of these ideas together, because then what I can do is when I've got sort of 2 or 3 really key stats, I can then click this back button and then I can add it up here. So I can go overall percentage and I can go half time, and then I can find what I need. It's not that one, it's H1 over 0.5. Okay, so I can do it like that, and then I can go greater than equal to, and say 75% is like my benchmark, and go like that. Right, now when I click apply, it's shortened my criteria list down. So now I'm looking for games that have a low percentage chance of a low percentage historically, of 0-0, and a high percentage historical data on a goal being scored in the first half. So then you can start to go, oh, hang on a minute, this Forest Green one, there's been like very, very little 0-0s in the last 10 matches, and there's been a high percentage of goals in the first half. Okay, so now if I start to look at the home versus conceded, I can see the first to score isn't the home team. They've conceded 7 times. Oh, sorry, no, that is the away team. Sorry, I scrolled too far down. So the home team is the first to score. Okay, my fingers went too fast for me then. And the away team, they concede only 30% of the time. So this looks pretty good, and then you compare it with the away, and it's the opposing stat. So they actually concede. Cool, so that looks pretty good. Then I can check the price. So this actually would probably be a really nice lay to draw. The odds fit in the right place. Now, if odds are important to me, I could also go back and I could add that in. I could go, okay, well, now give me the Betfair odds, and I want the home, and let's say I want it less than equal to 2.0, okay? And I can add that in, right? And then I can apply that. Now I've really got a good shortlist. So one of the things that people do struggle with is it starts out with a lot of data, but if you spend the time once doing this, this video is currently 5 minutes long. It's taken me 5 minutes of time to actually focus that down to these potential matches, right? With stats that are quite interesting and key to me. Now, I can check all of this in the one screen with the software. All of these odds look like they're in good places. And then you can, start, maybe not that one, it's a bit high, but you can start to pull this apart, okay? So that's what you should do. Now, when it comes to, risking, what I would do is I would definitely be paper trading this first, and I would paper trade this as if you were flat staking it, okay? So £2 lays or £10 lays, something like that. But just track it like that. Don't risk any money on it until you're confident, okay? And then you'll be able to work out whether it would be better on a liability later on or not. Now, when you say profit is when a goal is scored, okay? So as soon as a goal is scored, wait a minute, so the market will calm down and then you exit. Right, now, when to cut losses. Now, this is a tricky one, right? But for a lay the draw, I used to get out around 70 minutes, which was usually around sort of 80 to 90% of my initial stake, okay? But this had a high strike rate. Now, what you're going to need to do, this is why I emphasize on paper trading this, is track the price movements throughout the match, okay? So track it at the start of the second half, at 55 minutes, at 65 minutes, at 75 minutes, at 85 minutes, at 90 minutes, because you're not risking any money right now. You're just tracking. So you'll actually be able to work out, what is the best point of the matches to get in and out. And you'll also learn a lot by this, okay? Now, one of the things that I've also is well worth me noting and telling you is losing runs happen, okay? Losing runs happen on this strategy. I remember my longest winning run on the lay the draw was like 24 games, and my longest losing run was 4. Now, during those 4, that was quite painful, but actually the 24 happened not that long after the 4. So this is another reason why you want to be tracking it, paper trading it, because it gives you that confidence then when you've collected 100, 200 of these potential matches, you can start to see the trends and patterns and see what emerges, and it gives you confidence when you actually move forward. Now, one of the key issues with this strategy, right? The common mistake with this strategy is people not exiting, okay? There's been no goal, so just leave it, they let it run, and then they lose like all of the liability, and that's it. Or they wait when a goal's gone in, they go, "Oh, this game's over," right? That's crazy. Like, why do that? Now, so you need to do that. You need to not overstake. And the first thing to do is paper trade this strategy, okay? Now, how you're going to track this is just very, very simple, right? There is a spreadsheet. If you've commented the word 10, I've given you the 10 strategies that this video is included in, a series of 10 videos. Now, what you're then able to do is if you've got 10, I'll give you a tracking sheet. The kind of things I'm going to be tracking, right? Date, market, the odds, the results, profit loss, what happened when a goal went in, was there another goal? So time of the first goal, time of the second goal, time of the third goal, what was the price at half time? What was the score at half time? What was the score at full time? Okay. What happened? All of that kind of thing, right? All of that needs tracking, because once you start tracking all of that, then you might actually find that your initial idea of a lay the draw is actually very, very different, right? Now, I'm about to share a real sort of ninja trick, because if you've got to this point of the video, you have stayed around long enough. So what I'm actually going to say to you now is one of my members, they started out with a strategy that didn't work, right? They had all this data and they found out their original idea didn't work. But the way that they selected the games, this exact process that I've just spoken you through now, actually found games that went over 2.5 goals, okay? Because they had an idea for a strategy, they tested it, they gathered the data. So they just then changed the name of their filter, okay, to over 2.5 goals. And they started backing over 2.5 goals. And then they were very, very profitable. This is what a lot of people massively forget about trading on Betfair. They start with an initial idea of a strategy. It doesn't work. They don't track it for long enough. And then they give up. But the goal is, right? The goal is to make money on Betfair. It doesn't matter whether you're trading or backing or laying or set and forgetting or whatever, or just betting, right? The goal is to make money, right? There's a gap there. There's a gap from where you are right now and where you want to get to, just making money, making good money on Betfair. So the only thing that matters is we do things to close that gap. By doing this exercise, we are closing that gap. It doesn't mean that we're a failure because our idea for a lay the draw failed. It just means we're getting closer all of the time. We're closing that gap. And who cares right? If you had an idea for a lay the draw strategy that doesn't work, but then it comes out to be that all of the games went, under 2.5 goals, for example, you go, okay, well, now let me check the odds for the under 2.5s for 50, 100 matches. Oh my God, wow, this is really, really profitable. That's what I'm now going to do. You are, by tracking, and sometimes when I say about tracking a lot of other things, people get really fed up or they're like, oh, that's a lot of work. But don't be the guy that doesn't track it. Be like Mark, right? The guy who does track it. Because then what happens is all that time that you've spent tracking a strategy isn't wasted because you might have another angle from it. Okay. Now, if you want all of the 10 strategies that come from this series and everything that I've got, to help you around it, I've got a couple of questions on that sheet as well that will help you identify which strategy you should probably start with that might fit best for you. Comment the word 10 below and I will give them to you. Totally free. Just want to help you and get you going with Betfair Trading or take your existing trading up a level, right? Really, really simple, really, really straightforward.